Match 62, King Caesar vs. Iris, by Christian Salibert. Suddenly, Iris was alive. His cranial orb pulsing with light, the ancient beast rose to his feet. His tentacles began to swing lazily behind him. He wasn't sure why he was alive again, but he was not about to complain. Almost instantly, the evolved Gauss craved completion, and he knew there was only one thing on the planet that could grant it to him. Ayana. Splitting his tentacles open and forming his wings, Iris fired his jets and rose into the sky.
This was before more like Iris. This is before Iris was not supposed to be. Is not actually a Gauss, right?
Iris is Gauss.
He is okay.
Yeah, Iris is a
I
mutant
remember. I
Gauss.
remember I remember there was a bit of a problem with that before.
Yeah, Iris is a mutant Gauss. Like, that
Okay.
is very much canon to the Heisei series. Heisei Gamma
Okay.
movies.
Just checking.
So, the fearsome roar of King Caesar filled the air. Rock and dirt exploded into the sea as the Okinawan deity awoke, emerging from his cave. The Leonine
Leonine.
Leonine Golem could already sense the foul beast that had risen, angry that it would dare appear on King Caesar's watch. Roaring furiously, Caesar broke free from what remained of his resting place and began to make his way towards his foe. Queen Minami watched as King Caesar disappeared into the distance. She knew the creature her guardian was about to face was a dangerous one, but she wasn't worried. She knew King Caesar would fight until the end.
That's actually an interesting idea. King Caesar waking up without the royal
Oh
family
yeah,
doing it for
I think
him.
it's just I think it's just a convenience to get things rolling
No, no,
along.
no, no,
So,
no, no, no. I'm not saying that's a bad. I'm actually saying I like the idea. I might use that.
oh
Like,
right,
oh
right.
my, King Caesar woke up without the help of the royal family. Oh God,
Oh
it must
yeah,
be. It's like doomsday to them.
uh-huh. Right, right. Yeah, that'd be a decent sort of like doomsday build up thing. Like, oh crap, King Caesar just wakes up. But anyway, Iris sat down in one of the human settlements, ignoring their screams as they ran from him. He could sense that Ayana was somewhere within this city, but he couldn't pinpoint exactly where. She wasn't close, he could tell that much. He began to move forward, crushing various structures under his feet. He swept even more of them away with his tentacles. He wouldn't stop until he found her. Though he was still a good distance away, King Caesar could see the beast. His eyes narrowed as he watched it destroy the humans' homes, sending them fleeing into terror. He would put an end to this right now. Throwing its arms out into an attack position, King Caesar charged the creature, letting loose with a roar to let his foe know that its end was near. His ears folded upward. Pass.
That is so not threatening. I'm sorry. You can't make his ears folding upward sound menacing.
I think flapping upward. Well, that is
Flapping upward.
flap. Perk?
Hearing the
No.
cry, Iris turned his head and spotted the approaching deity. The armored creature wailed out as it watched Caesar run at him. Oh. Once the feline beast was within range, Iris lashed out with one of his tentacles, sideswiping King Caesar on the head and instantly toppling him. Wow. As he got back to his feet, Iris sent his bottom two tentacles at Caesar, their spear tips aiming right at him. King Caesar reacted quickly, jumping into the air and spinning around. What? His floating power to the first tentacle's head, kicking away with a loud clang. Seconds later, he was able to snatch the second limb out of the air, tugging on it with all of his strength.
Ooh.
Iris jerked forward, unable to resist his foe's pulling. Ooh. Iris groaned in frustration. He was too far away to strike the creature, forgetting that he has tentacle lasers. Doesn't he? Like he does.
Yeah, he has tentacle lasers.
Don't know why he's not using them, though.
I think it was just more close combat thing.
Oh, okay. Unable to wrench his tentacle free, Iris raised his two top tentacles in the air and pointed their tips at his opponent. King Caesar watched as they aimed at his head and split open, glowing with energy. Twin sonic beams shot forth from the spears, soaring towards King Caesar's head. Iris was confused. Instead of trying to avoid the beams, his foe looked up at them, facing them head on. The golden energy hit King Caesar's eyes, and seconds later, they were redirected back at Iris. The armored monstrosity realized what was about to happen and pulled his tentacles out of the way, but King Caesar wasn't aiming for the ends. The beams lanced through the tentacles near their base, causing Iris to rear his head back and wail! The appendages fell to the ground, cleanly slashed off by their own sonic beams. While Iris distracted, King Caesar charged, quickly closing the distance between them. Before Iris even realized he was there, the golem began slamming his fists against the spiky creature's chest. Iris quickly responded, shoving against King Caesar and sending him sprawling to the ground with a superior mass. But Caesar was back on his feet and attacking Iris within seconds. Iris was about to counterattack with a spear on his arm when King Caesar leaped into the air and slammed his foot down into Iris's chest. With a sickening crack, Iris tumbled backward onto the ground. The armored beast groaned in pain. A large crack now went down the middle of his chest plate. King Caesar advanced. Before he could press his advantage, Iris raised two of his remaining tentacles and fired off a sonic beam. One hit home, piercing King Caesar's shoulder and sending him crashing into the ground. Iris rose to his feet and turned to face King Caesar, who did the same. King Caesar leapt forward and wrapped his arms around Iris, hugging the creature fiercely. Hello? Who joined?
Hi,
Alex.
Alex is back.
What do we do?
What match are we on?
62.
62. We just read the entirety of 61 without you. And you missed Kiryu. Sweet kick!
Oh, I know Megalon and Pale Kiryu.
I know, Alex. I was really good. I could say this to you. Kiryu was in Godzilla 54 mode, right?
Yeah.
So I realized Godzilla 54 technically did a sweet kick. And I'm due to understanding more about Kiryu. All the matches after this where someone's piloting Kiryu has been Plan B. That's kind of sad.
Jeez. Oh, yeah, also, I should say I may have to go again here in a bit. So, yeah, we'll just read whenever.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. That was
I'll be on whenever I can.
All right. That was cameo from Alex.
Yep. Welcome back. Now everyone gets to hear my fascinating Kiryu story again.
Yes.
All right. Iris rose to his feet and turned to face King Caesar, who did the same. King Caesar leapt forward and wrapped his arms around Iris, grappling with the creature. The long spikes jutted from Iris's knees jammed into Caesar's gut, forcing somehow not breaking, despite the fact King Caesar's made of rock, forcing him to back away. In retaliation, King Caesar backhanded Iris across his pointed face. It's like, hell, you did what? Smack! Iris groaned as his foe's fist bounced off his face, shaking his head to regain his focus. As King Caesar locked his arms around Iris once again, Mutant Gyaos brought one of his tentacles up from behind his opponent. Iris thrust his tentacle forward. This is getting to some kinky stuff. Seconds later, King Caesar howled in pain as the limbed spear kept impaled his hip from behind. Oh, my hip! As King Caesar began to pull the arrow-headed appendage out of his hip, Iris brought his other tentacle up from behind him, this time aiming at the feline's head. Caesar was expecting the ploy this time, however, and flipped out of the way! Oh my god! Iris wielded the tentacle spear cluttered with his chest plate, damaging it even further. King Caesar, meanwhile, dislodged the spearhead from his hip, biting the tentacle away and roaring furiously at Iris. The armored monster looked up to see King Caesar tackle him headfirst on the ground and pass.
King Caesar quickly pressed his advantage and began bringing his powerful fist down on Iris's damaged chest. Iris struggled trying to get the golem off of him, but Caesar refused to move, and in fact struck Iris across his spiked face with an attempt to cease the beast's movements. Iris cried in pain and anger as he was assaulted by King Caesar over and over. He wanted to finish this creature and quickly. When King Caesar lifted his hand, preparing to bring it down on his foe, Iris responded with this tentacle, wrapping around Caesar's arm, pulling the feline creature away and sending him tumbling to the ground. Iris got to his feet in time to be uppercut by Caesar, breaking several smaller spikes off his head. Another powerful kick from Caesar, and fluids began to spill from the cracks in Iris's chest plate. King Caesar prepared to tackle Iris again, holding his arms out, ready to attack. The Okinawan deity charged, roaring loudly. Iris thrust his arm forward, but King Caesar avoided the spear, spinning around and planting his foot onto Iris's armored back. The mutant Gao staggered forward, lashing out with his tentacle. One struck Caesar in the head, dazing him. The second slammed into his legs, sweeping them out from under him and bringing him to the ground. Iris raised his tentacles into the air and aimed their tips at his foe. In an instant, he thrust them downward. King Caesar rolled out of the way, and the tentacle's spear stabbed into the ground. Iris pulled his tentacles out of the pavement just as King Caesar returned to his feet and attacked again. The furry creature slammed his fists into Iris's chest plate again and again.
Now, hold up. We don't want any furries here. Get that out of here.
Driving the beast back. King Caesar raised his leg and planted his foot into Iris's gut, kicking hard. Iris stumbled back and flexed his arms. He was ready to finish this. As Caesar approached, Iris thrust his right arm forward once again. Once more, his foe dodged the attack, spinning to the side, but Iris was ready for the tactic. He slammed his left arm forward, jamming the limb's spear into King Caesar's back. King Caesar shrieked in agony as the deadly extension cut through his body like knife through butter before finally exploding out of his chest. Ooh. King Caesar desperately clutched at the spear's protruding tip, unwilling to concede defeat to his foe. Iris withdrew the spear, revealing the massive hole torn through King Caesar's torso. Shakily, the mammalian deity turned to face Iris and stepped forward. Iris watched in amazement as Caesar fought to stay standing. He took another step forward, and just as Iris began to raise his tentacles to strike the beast down, King Caesar reached up and grabbed his head, quickly tipping Iris's pointed face downward. King Caesar headbutted his foe with terrifying force, cracking the armor that made up Iris's skull. As Iris staggered back, stunned and badly hurt from the blow, King Caesar turned away and dropped to his knees. Satisfied with...
Suddenly back and snuck up in the tone and thrust the right side of their bodies.
Satisfied with its final act of defiance, he toppled face first to the ground. Pass.
His vision blurred. Iris looked down at the fallen form of King Caesar. Despite the fact his life force was rapidly ebbing away, Caesar still moved, fighting death every step of the way. This angered Iris. The mutant gals lifted his tentacles high into the air and aimed their tips at King Caesar's head, bringing the sonic beams to full power. He would end this now. Golden orbs of energy gathered in the open spear tips, aimed directly at the back of King Caesar's head. Caesar began to weakly push himself off the pavement. Iris' sonic beams fired. They pierced King Caesar's skull, instantly killing the protector of Okinawa. But the beams hadn't claimed all their victims yet. Nanoseconds after slicing through King Caesar... Nanoseconds after slicing through King Caesar's brain, the golden beams struck the backsides of the golem's eyes. That's actually a pretty creative idea. Mm-hmm. The reflective properties still worked, and the rays shot out of the back of King Caesar's cranium. One of them shot up harmlessly into the sky. The second blasted back towards Iris, and before the ancient creature could react, it seared through the yellow orb in his head. The light within died instantly. For a moment, Iris stood unmoving. Seconds later, the beast toppled to the ground, slain by his own weapon. The impact of the armored beast hitting the ground shook the surrounding area, leveling any nearby structures. For long, the humans came out of their hiding places. Although thrilled that the evil monster known as Iris had been defeated, they also recognized the sacrifice made by their heroic defender, the ancient guardian known as King Caesar. The fight,
draw between Iris and King Caesar. Actually, I'll be honest, this one's actually pretty good. I like this one.
Yeah?
I
like this one.
This is actually pretty solid. Like, I like the way King Caesar utilizes his eye beams against Iris. Like, oh yeah, he slices off 2 of Iris's tentacles at the base, so Iris doesn't use them again up until the butt end. And I like what happened at the butt end, where where the reflective properties still work. So it's like, even though he's striking him from the back of the head, they still reflect back at Iris, which I think like Iris and Gauss, I think, would be the only 2 monsters that would be feasible to pull off that sort of
Oh yeah, no one. Yeah, the only beam. Iris and Gauss have the only weapon, only like the breath weaponry.
Where there's a lot more emphasis on piercing. Like, their weapons emphasize on piercing, but of course, King Caesar being reflective. It's like, yeah, that's actually really creative. Like, I like that's actually a really creative use of King Caesar's reflecting eyes, like getting him from the back of the head. That's really creative. And yeah, the match itself was still really creative all around too. Like, decent use of Iris's tentacles and all that good stuff. So, yeah, this is actually.
I really like that this match didn't go what the earlier KWC would have. It had just Iris completely curb stomp King Caesar. I like they made King Caesar out to be a legitimate threat to Iris.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they both have their pros and faults, and yeah, Iris would have won the match had he not realized that King Caesar's eyes still would have worked. So yeah, it's actually really. Yeah, this is a really good match. This is a really good match with decent, solid banner, I'd have to say. Like,
yeah,
it's simple, but there's enough like foreground, background stuff going on that makes it look good. So, it gives a nice bit of scale, even for like the 60-meter days or whatever.
So
yeah, overall, good match, really good match.
Yeah, solid, good match. The next one is. Oh boy. The next one is somehow longer.
Well, until then, folks, this has been Match 62, and we'll see you guys next time for Match 63. Until then.
Bye.